What's going on, everybody, and welcome to the Other Side of the Firewall podcast, where we talk about the latest and greatest in cybersecurity news, as well as we highlight those movers and shakers and glass ceiling breakers, those people of color who made it to the other side of the proverbial firewall. My name is Ryan Williams, and as always, I'm joined by Shannon Tynes.
What's up? What's up?
What's going on? So, welcome to Friday's episode. So, this is the everything else episode, right? So, if you want to hear about cybersecurity, Monday and Tuesday are topics, Wednesday discussion, Thursdays Ask a CISSP. This week I'll have on Delisha Hodo from the SANS Institute. It'll be her second time on the show. Really good interview. Definitely check that one out. And then this one is everything else, like just movies, books, games, all good stuff, but not cybersecurity related per se. Sometimes it creeps in there, right? But with that being said, Shannon, how was your week?
Man, it was good. Took in a little bit more media this week, so I didn't go to the theater to see it, but I bought it on Prime. I watched the new Godzilla vs. Kong, and I liked it, man. I know a lot of people aren't liking these new ones for whatever reason. I don't get it, but like when you go into this, you know you're just going in to see destruction of buildings and
Right.
bridges, and like not thinking about all the people that are dying beneath them, even though they are, right? Like if you see cars on a bridge that go into the ocean because Godzilla walked past it, like those people died. Like they didn't get abandoned. Like he came up all of a sudden, like ran through the bridge. Those people died, but we just don't think about it, right? Like, but I thought it was a pretty decent movie, and there are some parts that are hokey, right? But you got to suspend disbelief, right? Like I watch Marvel and DC movies too, right? I'm not of the belief that a billionaire playboy is really that great at what he does. You know what I mean? But I mean, we suspend disbelief, right? But it's a good movie. If anybody gets a chance, I mean, you may not want to pay for it, but if you wait long enough, it'll be out there somewhere for free. I shouldn't say free. It'll be on a streaming service you already paid for without paying extra. But I was just
Right.
I was just like, let me go ahead and pay for it. But it was good. It wasn't bad. The other thing I watched, I've been in a really big documentary mood. Like I get in these moods where like I start watching documentaries and stuff like that. And so I watched the one that Chris was talking about last week, which was what Jennifer did about that girl that I don't want to say put a hit out on her parents, but it was okay. It was kind of boring. And when I was watching it, like my wife walked into the room and she was like, "Yeah, I tried watching this. It was just boring." And I could see why, right? Because it's a lot of just interviewing her and her just sitting out in the room and whatnot. And then every once in a while they cut out to somebody as a detective or somebody like that, or a neighbor, and then it's right back into the interview room again. So it was okay, but yeah, she put the hit out on her parents. Pretty much is what happened. And the other one I watched, another one I watched was Bad Vegan. So like it was somewhat familiar when I looked at the trailer. I was like, I somewhat remember seeing this in the news, but it wasn't something that I really paid attention to because I'm not a vegan. Like I eat meat all the time. Like that's just how I get down. You know what I mean? Like raised on pork. You know, but yeah, it was this lady was like she owned this New York City hotspot that had like all these stars coming through and whatnot, and she ended up marrying this guy that I don't know. I don't want to say it how it's probably going to sound, but like I don't understand how some of these women keep falling for these guys that just do not treat them right. You know what I mean? Like because like she started recording phone calls with them and whatnot, and some of the stuff he was saying to her, I'm like, how are you going along with this? Right? But
Right.
I'm like, but again, this is the outside looking in, right? I shouldn't be as judgmental as that, right? I'm fairly certain that there's stuff people see from the outside and be like, why do you let your wife do that? I'm like, oh, I love her. You know what I mean? Like, what are you talking about? Yeah. Just let her do what she want to do. You know what I mean? But yeah, her husband was just, he would say stuff to her and like she was just sending him money and it was coming from the restaurant. Like she couldn't pay employees. Like she had to shut down this restaurant twice based off what was going on here. And this guy was just taking money. He was just a gambler. Is what it was. Like I don't know how he was just gambling the money away. He was like, hey, send this money to me because it's a test, and like it was weird to me. And like I found myself as I'm watching it, I'm getting upset because I'm like, lady, like what are you doing?
Right.
Why are you doing this? And like it kills me because people are like, oh, she was so smart, this, that, and the third. And I know there's a difference between street smarts and book smarts, right? But it's like nobody should be falling for this, you know what I mean? But she did. You know what I mean? So, yeah, Bad Vegan was the name of it. That was an interesting one because I was like, come on, man, like it can't go down like this, but it did apparently. And here's the thing: with all of that, they didn't get any serious jail time out of it either, right? So, like the husband, I think he spent a year in jail and then copped the plea, and it was time served at that point. And then she got, I think, 4 months or something like that in prison. So with all of this, like tax evasion and grand larceny,
Right.
and not paying people, like they didn't get a lot of time. And I'm just like, man, why not? You know what I mean? Because like some of the stuff she did, I'm like, that's willful. Like even if you say you're in love and you didn't know what was going on, and he was behind a lot of it, which he was. There was points where he was stealing. Like he had access to like her email and stuff like this because he pretended he had an IT guy. So this is where cyber kind of sneaks into it a little bit. He pretended he
Gotcha.
had an IT guy that she would be emailing with, but it was him the whole time. You know what I mean? And like even in the documentary, because this documentary is a couple years old, but even in the documentary, they have somebody that's reading like stuff like emails and stuff like he was the guy. And at one point, she's just like, he didn't exist. It was her husband. You know what I mean?
Right.
And the guy just disappears. And I'm like, oh, you got me. You know what I mean? Because I thought it was that guy. You know what I mean? I thought it was that guy or whatever. But yeah, it was an interesting documentary to say the least. And then the wife and I watched a few more episodes of Lopez versus Lopez. I like George Lopez, right? So again,
Right.
continue with that. It's not constant, right? Because like I only watch it together. It's one of those things where if you start something together, you can't watch it without them, type thing. It's,
Hmm.
I want to watch some more of this, but you know, she's not available at the moment. So, um, but that was pretty much it for me, man. Didn't play any video games. There's nothing that really even interests me because I know like people are getting excited about NCAA football coming out again.
Yeah.
Through EA Sports, and I'm just like,
I'm not,
not
but
excited. Yeah,
I'm excited for people. I'm excited for people who are
really.
excited about it. Because I was never good at it. If I was bad at Madden, I was terrible at college football.
I just never liked it. I don't know what it was for me. I like the college game does not enthrall me as much as the NFL. But there are some people that
Mhm.
are just like all college all day. You know, forget the NFL. I'm all for college. That's what some people say. Me, I'm the other way around. So like I played the game years and years ago, but even when it was still in production before the hiatus with the like, you know,
Yeah.
having to pay players and whatnot, the NIL, I wasn't playing it before that even. You know, but Madden wasn't every year get, right? Which that's, I don't know. That's probably getting, you know, I should probably delete that off my hard drive, man. It's just taking up space now. You know, not like I'm
It's
playing
time
any
to buy the
games.
next one.
It is
August,
coming
right?
up, isn't it? Yeah, I think August. Yeah, August is usually the. Yeah. I
Use
don't
freeing
know.
up space for the next edition.
Yeah, unless somebody challenges me, I'll probably wait for it to go down in price. You know,
I'm not
'cause
challenging nobody no more. I'm just never gonna be good at Madden. It's just never gonna happen. Oh no.
you could have had Junior just be like, "Hey, man, look, just give me the tutorial, man. Like, show me what's what."
Right.
Yeah. That's pretty much it for me, man. How about you?
So we talked about last week. I spent most of my weekend doing the birthday thing. That Sunday evening when we recorded, saw Kevin Hart. So before I forget, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Hit a bell if there's a bell involved. We're trying to push for 500. I think we're just 100, 101 short of that. Hopefully by June. I feel like a telethon. I feel like what I'm doing. And then by the end of the year, we want to hit 1,000. Because once you get 1,000 subs, you can actually do stuff for the channel, and they'll start to pay us for those ads. They're already starting to run on our content. That would be nice. And then we are in the top 10% of podcasts worldwide, which is kind of crazy to me. It's 3.3 million podcasts, billions of episodes, and we are in top 10%. However, our listening score is pretty low because we don't have any ratings. So please rate us. Give us feedback as well. But yeah, if you're on a platform of some sort that allows you to rate the podcast, please do so. Good, bad, and different, right? We want to know. We want your feedback, but we also want our listening score to go up. So, and with that being said, hit up all of the websites that go by our name, either the other side of the firewall, the other side of the FW, or Ask a CISSP, where you can check out the videos, the audio, articles, and then the newsletter that goes out every Friday. But yeah, so Sunday after we had our episode, me, you, and Chris, I went to the Straz. It's a theater here in downtown Tampa. So more of an intimate seating. It's not an auditorium like Kevin Hart usually does. It was real good. Like I really did enjoy it. Like, he has his Plastic Cup Boys come out, so it was like 2 or 3 of them came out, did their thing. Humorous. Mess with the audience a little bit. We actually got 4th row. My wife hooked me up, so we're right there. So it was really cool. Ample, like, so what's crazy is like in the theater, it's set up to where it's like first class, where you get more leg room, right? You don't have to scoot past people. You got that space between you and them. And it's just a cool vibe, but everybody in there had good seats, right? Because it's stadium seating, right? So it's the slope, so everybody has really good seats. It's a comedy show, so it's funny no matter where you're at. But it was definitely cool to be like right there, almost center stage, but only a couple rows behind. Kevin Hart and his people doing their thing, and it's a Kevin Hart show, so he's talking about his life and he's making it funny. So he talked about his injury. It was hilarious. Like, it's words I can't say here on the podcast because I got to keep it clean. But it was a good time. Like, that one will probably, I assume it'll debut on Netflix or somewhere else in the near future. But very funny. But what I didn't know was he also got the Mark Twain Award. So he didn't talk about that at all during the show. But last night I noticed it was on Netflix because I haven't logged into Netflix in weeks, and I watched that. Also hilarious, right? And it was star studded, right? He had Chappelle, Seinfeld, Chris Rock, Nick Cannon. That was funny. Who else? He had all of his crew basically. Like, everybody you could think of that could be there was there, except for one person, and that's part of the joke. So definitely check out the Mark Twain one. It was actually really good. And again, he talks about his life, right? That's it. That's his thing. His thing is his life, and he makes it comedic. But his whole family was there. It was a good time. So I checked it out last night. Definitely worth watching. And then we talked about the roast. So it's been Kevin Hart's been he never went underground per se, but it feels like a resurgence. I was seeing him everywhere, then I stopped seeing him everywhere, and I'll see him everywhere again. Like, he's definitely doing his thing.
I think he was doing more behind the scenes stuff, like trying to bring other people up, because he kind of talks
Mm,
about that in like different interviews and whatnot. Where, because like a lot of these newer, let me not say a lot of these newer comedians, but you'll see newer comedians that come up and they'll be like, Kevin Hart gave me my chance, right? Or he's producer, is Heartbeat
yeah,
Productions, on some type of show or something like that, a comedy special or something like that. So he made his money, and then he started bringing people along, and now he's like, all right, let me get back out there again. I think is
right.
really what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, it's all good stuff. Like, I've always been a Kevin Hart fan. Like, Grown Little Man, that's still one of the funniest specials he ever did, and that's what hooked me. But he's just like, I like his comedy style. It's funny to me. So, he has a movie coming out, or he's in a movie with a bunch of other stars. The Borderlands is getting a movie. I'm not sure about that one. We'll see.
The video game?
Yeah, the video game's getting a movie. It has Kevin Hart, Jack Black, man, it's a bunch of other stars in
If
it
you
as
say
well.
Dwayne Johnson and
No,
Nebula,
The
I'm
Rock's
gonna be
not
like,
in this
yo,
one.
this is
No.
I'm like, yo, this is junk or not Jumanji all over again.
Yeah,
Like, what's going
Jumanji. Yeah, but what people are like, they're not complaining per se. They're just saying it's odd that their entire cast is older people. They said, why would all these old people be casted? And sure enough, when you look at the cast, like, everybody's in their 40s and up, which I guess is considered old comparative to the population who's playing the game. So I thought that was kind of funny. So I've never been a Tales from the Borderlands type person. I didn't get in because I was busy during that time, and now I feel as though it's too unattainable, right? They got like 4 or 5 games out. I think I played the one game that was the Telltale version of the game where basically you choose options. I don't know if you ever played like The Wolf Among Us or the Walking Dead Telltale games. They made one for Borderlands. It was actually really good. And I was like, man, I should jump into these games. I have not. Maybe one day I will. I'll see if they have it, something on the PC. That's like a couple bucks, right? If it's on sale, I might pick it up.
So here's my question: is Borderlands, is it a comedic game? Like,
Yes,
does
yeah,
Jack
it's a
Black?
lot of humor, a lot of satire, but it's a little bit sillier, I want to say, than Fallout. But I can see I would like it. I just have not had the time to sit down and try it out. But I haven't played a shooter for real since, I want to say, Halo Infinite dropped. So that's a few years ago. And that used to be my genre. My reflexes are trash. I started playing Doom Eternal, right? So one of my birthday presents was this gorgeous super ultra wide. Never really been a PC gamer at all, but I got it and I was like, you know what? I need it for to be more productive because I have so many screens up and I'm alt tabbing. Like, Shmir's like, so many shortcuts. I'm like, it's out of necessity that I have to be able to flip through these things for both work and for the podcast. So I was like, you know what? I just need more real estate. So she blessed me with the screen. Obviously, it has gaming implications, right? Super ultra wide OLED. I'm like, I gotta see what games look like on this. Phenomenal. It's basically it's the same screen as my TV in the living room. So now I got basically in 2 different rooms, different form factors though. I played Sinua's Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 on it. Amazing. Like I'm just like, there's something to this ultra wide business. I
You
like it. It's
know,
very immersive.
it was crazy. As one of my coworkers tried to put me onto that. He was like, "Man, you got to watch this," because he played the first one,
Mhm.
and he was like, "Man, you got to get onto this." And I watched the trailer, and I was just like, "Man, it don't do it for me. Like it seems slow paced. You know what I mean?"
Yes, it's a walking sim. Like
Yeah,
you're basically just walking around.
and
It's a showcase game, is what it is. It's
but
like when
it
you want to show people why you bought the game console. Like, let me pop this in for you. Let me show you what this thing does.
like testing out your surround sound, right? Like listen for
Yeah.
this, listen for this. But no, it was I don't know. It's weird to me because it seems like this person is going through like mental health challenges. It seems like you know
Yeah,
what I mean. That they're
she's
dealing with.
what's it called it? She has psychosis.
Yeah,
Yeah. So if you put on headphones, it trips you out. It's like it's something over here. But it's twofold as part of the story, but they actually did sit down with mental health people, like providers and therapists and stuff like that, to figure out like what is psychosis really like for a person who has it, and they baked it into the game. So that's kind of cool. I still, it's not that as a gimmick. It's just it never really it's cool to see what a person goes through and how it can be very challenging. But to the narrative of the game, I never finished the first one, so I have to go back and finish the first one. So I'm talking on my butt here. It has to be solved in some way, right? Because she's seeing stuff, she's hearing stuff. So is it that these are aberrations, or is she really going through psychosis? Like at some point they have to explain it to you, and I never got the explanation. So for me, it's just like, what's going on here? But playing the game, I mean, it's cool. Like, and they mess with you, right? Like some of them are telling you the wrong things or the right things. So like the entire time you're playing the game, it is pretty challenging. Um, but it's super pretty. Like even if you just download it just to see what the future of gaming is gonna look like I took that picture of her face, that's in game. That's not like they just did that CG or whatever. Like if you pan around, like if you move the camera because it's third person, if you put the camera right in front of her face, that's what it looks like during while the game's running. It's amazing. So Unreal 5 is going to be a beast once games start rolling out. Like this makes me, I'm super excited for Gears of War. Whatever that next one is, because it's going to be Unreal 5. Like it's going to look amazing. It's going to like when you chainsaw somebody in half, the guts are going to look so real. I cannot wait. But yeah, so I'm just playing through it because I just want to get the experience, right? I want to see what it looks like on the environment. Again, it's pretty cool. Like music is really good, but I don't think you'll like it. It's very slow paced. There is some combat, but it's very dodge, block, swipe, dodge, block. Like it's very formulaic. The puzzles are like the first one had really good puzzles. I would say like I got stumped a couple of times. This one has not happened. It feels like not like I'm solving a puzzle. I'm just working my way through it an obstacle basically. Like I don't ever get done with a puzzle and feel smart. Like the first one I felt smart, like, oh, I figured something out. This one I'm just like I get through these things and learn these mechanics and they just stack on top of each other. So it's more like a chore than a challenge. So again, but it's the prettiest thing I've ever seen. Like this if this is the future of gaming, it's going to be amazing. But yeah, so playing that on the ultra wide, what else did I play on it? I played Halo Infinite. I'm just looking for games that support the 32:9 aspect ratio. And that's not all games, right? I'm being greedy. Like a lot of games do 21:9 also. So I could have had the black bars, or I could move it to one side and put something else on the other side. You saw Junior's already mastered it. He's playing Diablo 4 21:9 on the left side, and on the right side he has a Twitch stream where he's watching a friend play something else. He's got his Discord up and whatnot. Like you could do a lot with it, and like I've kind of future proofed my monitor now, and now it makes me want to upgrade the PC. I'm like, but I could do more. So like, now I'm falling into that trap. But no parts will be purchased until these prices come down. So I gotta wait for Nvidia to announce the new thing so we can buy the old thing. That's kind of how it works with PC gaming. The new thing comes out, you buy the old thing. And right now these prices are busting heads, so I'm gonna wait for the new thing. And and then I'm playing on the little one. So she got me a big screen, she got me a little screen, right? So I got this PlayStation Portal for all the audio listeners. I'm holding it up. This thing's actually pretty big. It's an 8-inch screen. I'm playing Final Fantasy on it in the bedroom, right? So when the kids are watching TV or my wife's watching Survivor with Junior, I'm like, I can still get it in. Just cut that bad boy on. It just works. as long as your PS5 is hardwired, it works best. I did not try it Wi-Fi to Wi-Fi, but I hear it's not the most ideal setup, so I just plugged it in off the rip, and no complaints. Like I said, I've been playing Final Fantasy 7, getting it in. I took it outside, right? So the Wi-Fi was able to reach my patio. I was able to play from there as well, and it just works. So I love it. I think it's a good investment if you do want to play games somewhere else in your house and not have to lug around your PS5. I think it makes me want them to make a new handheld though. Like when am I going to get my next PlayStation Portable? Right? Like you should. People want this. Make this happen. But who knows what that price would be? Like this guy just streams. It costs $200 and it's hard to find. Like they're always sold out. So I can only imagine if they make a portable, it's going to be crazy expensive. What else did I get into? I watched the Kevin Hart thing. I keep saying I'm going to watch Rebel Moon, but the TV's always tied up, and that's when I have to watch it on the TV. I have to.
I want to watch the second one too, man. But like that first one was a little disappointing to me. I was just like, man, like when they had the fight scenes, they were good. And I know I've said this before. When they had the fight scenes, they were good, but it was just too few and far between. But when you see the trailer for the second one, you're like, man,
It looks
they
like nothing but
getting it
action.
in. Yeah, they getting it in. But that's what they're supposed to do, right? I got a coworker that watched it, and he was like, yeah, it is more fighting than it was in the first one. I'm like,
Okay.
I want to give it a
So
shot.
Dune 2 came out too, and I heard that one is like because if you watch the first one, the first of the new ones, it's very slow. They're building up like here's all the characters, and this is what's going to happen, and then there's a little bit of action at the end, and they're prepping for war. This one's supposed to be just war, so I'm like, I got to jump on that too. But these are long movies. It's like you have to make time. I just don't. I haven't had that time. Maybe because this is a long weekend. Maybe I can make that time tonight or tomorrow. But I gotta pick one. Which one do I pick? Do I go Dune 2 or do I go Rebel Moon 2 or whatever it's called?
It is Rebel Moon. Yeah, it's Rebel Moon. But I don't know, man. I didn't watch the first Dune at all. Did you watch the first Dune or?
I saw it in the theater. So I was in Turkey. They had me. I was a captive audience. So I was like, the theater's only a 10-minute walk from the house. So I walked over there. I watched it, and again, like it's very epic. But it's very slow because it's like world building. It's like these are the people. This is what they do. So I know people who read the books and whatnot really enjoyed it, but I was just kind of like, it's kind of boring. And I see where Star Wars came from. It's very Dune influenced. I'm like, all these sandworms and sand peoples, but yeah, they said the second one's supposed to be off the chain. I'm just like, that's like, I think it's like a 2.5 hour movie, 3 hour movie or something like that. Like it's long.
That's that Peter Jackson type stuff, man. This movie's always that long. You're like, come on, man.
Epic. But what I want to do, like, so last movie thing, what I want to do though is I just thought about this. Like Disney has some of the special cut ones, like the IMAX cut ones. I want to see what it looks like on this monitor. I'm gonna check that out so I can report on it next week. Like, oh yeah, this is the new way to watch movies. I doubt it. Because there's nothing really on those sides, to be honest with you. Like in gaming, there's stuff on those sides. Like when I'm playing Halo, I see somebody coming out the peripheral, running around. That's engaging. That makes me want to play in that aspect ratio. But a movie, like what is over there? I'd be surprised if there's anything important. Like, man, they had a whole nother character. Did you know that they had another character like named Jake? He was in every scene. He was in the corner, on the right hand corner. That's not gonna happen. And then what else? Like this week is gonna be me. The only nerdy thing I did all week is I made a GPT. So, I'm writing an article. I gotta wait for. I was part of a not a podcast, but it was like a tech discussion. I did last week. It hasn't aired yet on the Black Speakers Network. It's like Tech Tuesday is what they called it. And we talked about GPTs. I was working on one, but it wasn't done yet. And the lady who was in the Miss Williams, she is doing big things with GPTs, right? So she does sales, coaching, counseling. So she made GPTs that facilitated all of the above, and it was like really good stuff, and it inspired me. So I was like, okay, I've been working on this GPT for trusted internet compliance, just to help me with facilitating like checklists and questions, right? So I was like, I took some of the things that she was talking about with knowledge being that you give it the source stuff. So GPT is not reaching out per se to the internet for every question you ask it. Like you're making your own tailored GPT, right? So I gave it all of the CISA information, all the NIST information, and it was functioning pretty well. Like I would give it a capability like least privilege or identity access management, and it can list out all of the questions and some examples. And I was like, let me take it another step deeper. I was like, so I'm going to give it access to I'm going to drop in the 853. I'm going to drop in the NIST CSF 2.0, and I'm going to allow it to take from that content and then give me all of the family groupings and what am I trying to say? The core functionality and the family groups. So this is part of response. This is part of detection. Like break all that down to me as well. So I put that in there, and then it was able to extrapolate both. So here is the questions you should be asking. Here are the examples that should be provided to you, and here's where they can find it basically in all of the source material. So I was like, okay, cool. It gives them more of a reference. So it's something I give that's client facing. And I was like, okay, let me take it a step further. I want them to give me evidence. How would I do that? So I sat there and I tweaked it and I played around with it, and I found that I can in 5 steps. So I wrote the guide as 4 steps on how to build your GPT. I had the 5th step on how to have it read the evidence, and it's actually able to take it, ingest it, and then spit out like this is what it's missing. I'm like, I got all types of use cases for this. So I'm steadily falling down the rabbit hole of GPTs. No code. I'm a computer science dropout. I know very little code, and it's all just verbal. I'm just playing around with the text. Like, can you do this? Can you do that? Like just figuring out like how I can talk to it to explain what I want it to do. And it's very responsive. So I sent it to a bunch of my colleagues and said, hey, basically like test it out, break it. Let me know what you think about it. And then I'm going to then go back and fix those things that are critiqued. So we'll see what the future holds. But I'm super excited. Like this is game changing for me for the assessment part of my job, because it's a lot of money in that particular field. And as opposed to telling the client like, hey, you need to go buy this, you need to go buy that, which nothing's wrong with that. You can facilitate smaller things though that are basically free. Like, hey, you don't have to pay for this license to do this thing. Like if you want all this robust stuff with a team, then yes, pay that. But if you just want to answer my questions or to be able to go through whatever policies or whatever and make them better, like I can actually facilitate that from just building a free GPT. The implications are kind of crazy, so we'll see what the future holds. But I sent it to a bunch of people. They will remain nameless. I BCC'd them. Let me know what you think.
So some of them may have been a little suspicious when they saw it. Like, hey,
I get that. That's why I put my email through GPT to make sure I didn't have any misspellings, to make sure the brevity was right and the tone was right. Because I was like, people are gonna flag this and be like, he's trying to fish us. Ryan's account got hacked. I was like, no, I just need you. Like, here's the GPT. Try it out. And I gave you all evidence. Here's some fake evidence. You know who made the fake evidence? GPT made it. I was like, hey, like I actually put together a little prompt. I was like, this is what I'm trying to do. I want you to generate evidence for least privilege, and I want it to be imperfect, so that way it could be critiqued. And sure enough, it spit it out PDF, and I was able to feed it back in there, and it's like, this is good, this is bad, this is good, this is bad. Here's some suggestions on what you should be doing, and here's the reference of where this came from. I'm just like, yo, this is amazing. Amazing. So look out for that next week. I'm waiting until the video drops so I can embed it in the article. But it'll be the 4 steps to building your own GPT. It should be out by the time you hear this. So if it's already out, go back and check it out. It's going to be called the 4. I think it's called the 4 steps to building your GPT or something like that. But you'll find it. I'll have it all in the description so you can check it out. Critique it. Let me know what you think. So busy week. Pretty busy. I think that pretty much does it for this one. Definitely come back to us next week. We'll have on Chris and possibly Daniel again. Chris is on vacation. Daniel is doing a big move. He's moving overseas. So when we talk to him, he might be in Japan by then, on the other side of the date line. So we'll be talking to him from the future. He can let us know what has already transpired, right? But yeah, definitely continue to check us out. Hit up all the websites that go by our name: The Other Side of the FW, The Other Side of the Firewall, Ask a CISSP, and then hit me up personally. I'm at RY Security Guy. That's RY Security Guy. You can find me pretty much on every platform you can think of. Check out all of our articles. Check out our newsletter. And subscribe. Leave us some feedback. We're in the top 10% of all podcasts in the world, Craig. The world. But we don't have any ratings, so we need you to rate us so our listener score can go up, hopefully, and more people can find us. So with that being said, stay safe, stay secure.